Welcome back, it's JWalter here, and here's your latest housing market update. In today's video, I'm going to share a brand new report with you guys. This is compliments from Redfin. In this report, they said demand for houses is still falling, and also on top of this, the share of houses for sale with price reductions, in other words, the home sellers are reducing their asking prices, has hit a 7-month high. So that's the topic of today's video. I'm going to give you all the latest updates regarding home prices, housing inventory, and much, much more. So if you guys get any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. So with that said, let's go ahead and dive right into the video. This is a new report from Redfin. The headline really says it all. Housing market update, shrinking pool of buyers snatch up homes at record pace. So it said that demand for houses is falling, but homes are still selling very quickly as the buyers who remain, keyword there, rush to beat rapidly rising mortgage rates. So in other words, we're starting to see some signs that home buying demand is decreasing. However, because we have such a lack of houses for sale, the houses that are priced right, in other words, they're not overpriced, they're still selling very quickly on average across the United States. However, as I mentioned, we're starting to see some early signs that this housing market is cooling off, so more on that later here. In any case, according to Redfin, the typical home in the US sold in 15 days. That's the fastest pace on record. Another way to say this is that this is the time period when a home seller lists their house for sale to when they accept an offer from a home buyer. So on average across the United States, it's 15 days. And that's an all-time record low. And by the way, this is for the 4 weeks ending May 8th, by the way. Meanwhile, pending sales or pending home sales fell 6%, the largest year-over-year decline since June of 2020. And a pending home sale is really a leading indicator of our housing market. If we start seeing more and more or less and less pending home sales, that could be an indication that our housing market is continuing to slow down. On top of this, according to Redfin, the typical home buyer's monthly mortgage payment is now $2,427 per month, an all-time record high, and up 44% from $1,685 a year earlier. So in other words, the average home buyer's monthly mortgage payment has basically increased about $780 more compared to 1 year ago. And this, of course, is because we have rising home prices and rising mortgage rates. So Redfin's chief economist Daryl Fairweather had this to say: rising mortgage rates have taken a notable bite out of demand. We still have stiff competition across many markets in the US. Given the lack of houses for sale though, it would take a much larger drop in demand for buyers to really feel like the market has truly turned in their favor. On top of this, we would have to see, in my personal opinion, a big increase in housing supply on top of this in order to move from a seller's market to a buyer's market. On top of this, according to the latest data from the National Association of Realtors, we would need approximately 2 million more houses to be listed for sale in order to have a more balanced real estate market, let alone a buyer's market. In any case, because we're starting to see some early signs that home buying demand is decreasing, the share of houses with price drops, or the share of houses that have been listed for sale with price drops, has shot up to a 7-month high. So here's a really good graphic that I want to share with you guys regarding the percent of listings that have price drops. So right now, 4% of listings had price drops for the 4-week rolling average for the latest data we have for you guys. In their previous housing market update, Redfin stated that the share of listings that had price drops was at 3.7%. So it increased slightly compared to 1 week ago, but really look at the trajectory ever since March. So basically in March, we were at approximately 2.25% of listings had price drops. Now we're at 4%. So basically we went from 2% at the start of this year. Now we're at 4%. So the share has basically doubled in approximately 4 months, which is a big change, especially when you compare that to prior years, right? 2020 is this gray line here. I basically would ignore that because of the COVID lockdowns that we had in April and also in March of 2020. But look at 2021. During this time last year, the share has been slightly increasing. So back in March of 2021, the share was approximately 2%. Then it increased slightly to 2.25%. In stark contrast, though, look at 2022. We were at approximately 2.25%. Now we're at 4%. Still a very small share, but this has been increasing greatly, and it's a sign that home buying demand is decreasing or sellers are overzealous with their asking prices. So an agent from Salt Lake City, Utah stated the following: we are seeing more price drops in recent weeks and home buyers are starting to find some relief from competition. People who have been looking for a long time and were consistently getting beat out by other buyers are starting to get their offers accepted. We're seeing that in Sacramento, where I live and work as a real estate agent as well, because we're starting to see a lot more listings to be hitting the market. And that's home buyers more options, and we're able to get 2 of our home buyers into contract last week. So going back to this report from Redfin, here are some leading indicators of home buying activity. Fewer people are searching for homes for sale on Google. When you actually click on this link here, it takes you to here. So this takes you to Google Trends, which if you're not familiar with Google Trends, you can basically search for any search term and it'll give you the interest in that search term over time. Here's what we want to change though, because we don't want to see people searching for homes for sale outside of the United States, right? So we don't want to see worldwide. We want to see in the United States. So it just changes to the United States and they'll give you the search interest on google.com for homes for sale. As you can see here, really ever since the beginning of August of last year, the interest for homes for sale, in other words, people are going to google.com and searching for homes for sale, that has been decreasing ever since August of last year. It did increase slightly at the beginning of this year, but really ever since the beginning of April, it has started to decrease. But as you can see here, ever since the beginning of April, it has started to decrease once again. And coincidentally, this is also the time when the average 30-year fixed rate mortgage also reached 5% on average across the United States. On top of this, Redfin's Home Buyer Demand Index, which is a measure of requests of home tours of Redfin agents, is down 7% compared to 1 year ago. And here's a really good graphic to show you guys regarding this index here. So this red line here is for 2022. The blue line here is for 2021. As you can see here, the first quarter of 2022 was very strong compared to 2021 for Redfin, as you guys may have read in their earnings call for Redfin's earnings report. So 2022 for Q1 was obviously higher compared to 2021, but look what happened once mortgage rates hit 5%. That was basically at the beginning of April and has fallen off a cliff. So right now their index is down 7% compared to 1 year ago and is lagging behind 2021's numbers. On top of this, touring activity by real estate agents showing houses to their home buyers has also been decreasing as well. This is according to showingtime.com. These are real estate showings in North America, and this data is through May 11th, 2022. If you guys follow the channel, you guys know I track this on a weekly basis. But if you look at the numbers here, the dark blue line there above is for 2021. The orange line is for 2022. And by the way, for each of these years, these are the changes in showings compared to the first week of the year. So let me explain here. So for 2022, we have a 7.1% increase compared to the first week in 2022. In other words, a 7% increase in home showings compared to the first week of 2022. However, look at 2021. We have an increase of 33.7% compared to the first week of 2021. So in other words, right now we have a 7% gain, whereas last year we were at a 33% gain. One thing I definitely want to bring to your attention though is that I really wish we had 2019's figures from ShowingTime, but I believe ShowingTime is more of a newer company. I didn't hear about it until maybe last year. So in other words, the only really comparisons we have right now is 2022 compared to 2021, because 2020 was obviously an abnormal year in our housing market. On top of this, applications for mortgages in order to purchase a house were actually down 8% compared to 1 year ago. However, it increased by 5% compared to the previous week. On top of this, this is the second consecutive week that we've seen increases in mortgage purchase applications, and this is according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, or the MBA. Also, for the week ending May 12th, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage increased to 5.3%, the highest level since June 2009. One thing I want to bring to your attention though, because I've been reporting this to you guys, that mortgage rates have been increasing greatly, but have a look at this, because I noticed that mortgage rates have been decreasing for 3 out of the last 4 days. Again, they have decreased for 3 out of the last 4 days here. So right now the average, according to the Mortgage News Daily, is at 5.35%. That's a decrease of 6 basis points compared to yesterday's figures. So have a look at this, because on May 6th, the average was at 5.64%. Now, as of today, which is the 12th of May, it's at 5.35%. However, 1 year ago, the average was 3.13%. That's a gain of 2.22 percentage points in 1 single year. On top of that, at the start of this year, mortgage rates were approximately 3.29%. So mortgage rates have increased approximately 2 percentage points thus far this year. So comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you got any value out of today's video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Also, consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.